today's class, our prop shopping list will be 2 balls in a container, like in a sock or something like that, and then a single one. And if you happen to have one that you can kind of maneuver, that'll work too. So that's for later. A strap also for later. And possibly something underneath your head for laying down. Yeah, so we'll do a lot of laying down in our class today. And it'll start with some movement in the pelvis, and then we'll bust out the balls, and we'll do work in the hips, and then in the neck and the shoulders. So let's come down to lay on your back. And we won't use this stuff right away, but you might just have it handy. Oh. And then as you start to settle in here for this first beginning section, and really anytime we recheck, if it feels okay to stretch the legs long, do that. But if that really doesn't feel good in your body, A-okay to keep the knees bent. Yeah. Just take a few easy breaths and let go of the rest of the day. And see if you can just notice the way your body meets the floor, especially right at the back of the pelvis. See if one side feels tilted or shifted differently than the other. Maybe it feels heavier than the other. We'll do some movement and then check in with that later. Notice the backs of the thighs and how close they are to the floor. And we'll bend up the knees and start with our first little set of movements here. So imagine that the pelvis were kind of like the face of a clock, and we'll be tipping between our 12 o'clock and our 6 o'clock. So if you're familiar with the cat-cow, it's those directions, or you could also call it a posterior and an anterior tilt. Yeah, so just start to move between those two, and we'll take it nice and slow. Yeah. And as you tip towards 6 o'clock, the low back will lift a little more off the floor. And then when we tip towards 12 o'clock, the low back will press into the floor. And sometimes I'll coordinate this with the breath. That might be happening naturally, but I won't say too much about it for today. As we go back and forth. Yeah, and then let's find neutral. Just pause in the center. And now we'll tip between 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock, which is the right left. However, we're going to keep the thigh bones and the knees relatively still. So as we tip between our 3 o'clock and our 9 o'clock, notice if the legs are swishing from side to side, kind of windshield wiper style, and see if you can go smaller so that that doesn't happen. So the legs stay pretty still. And the knees, if they had a headlight, they would stay pointing up to the ceiling. Yes, we're purposely adding a little bit of a restriction here. And notice if your body is having an easier time going to one side or to the other. You'll probably also feel a little bit of a weight shift in your feet. Great. So let's pause here. And now we'll kind of work on each 4 quadrants of our circle. Let's tip up to our 12 o'clock. So the low back presses a little into the floor. And then from 12, we'll go to 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, pause. And then reverse, 3, 2, 1, 12. Do that a few times. So 12, 1, 2, 3, and 3, 2, 1, 12. And take that a few times. So this little quarter circle, And notice if there's any spot along the way that seems to get skipped over. And see if you can really get all those numbers. Great. And then let's come back to neutral, and we'll stay on this 3 o'clock side. And let's tip first into our 6 o'clock position, so towards the tailbone, and don't overdo that, just a little bit. So now we've got 6, 5, 4, 3, and then 3, 4, 5, 6. So the bottom quarter of our circle, yeah. And here too, make sure that all the numbers are getting touched. Don't want to skip any. And then let's do the full half circle. So 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 12, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and do that half a few times more. I was telling Sarah before class, I don't typically sit in a chair for long periods of time. And I did over the weekend, and my legs and pelvis didn't like that at all. So here we are kind of unwinding some of that. And let's pause here, just bring the pelvis back to neutral, and let's take your recheck position. So maybe that's the legs long as before, or if you have the knees bent, stay there. And notice now, after we've done a lot of stuff on one side but not the other, is there any difference between right and left? Yeah. Yeah, for me, the side that we just did is a little lower, a little closer to the floor. Yeah. All right, which means we better do the other side. Let's come on back up with the legs, feet on the floor. And then we'll first tip into our 12 o'clock, and we'll do each quarter separately. So we've got now our 12, 11, 10, 9. 9, 10, 11, 12. So this upper quarter on the other side. And for me, this side is less clear. All the numbers. Yeah, it doesn't seem to move as easily, which is interesting because it's actually the other side for me that doesn't feel so good. But a lot of times it's the that's not the side that has the problem. It's the stiffer side. And then just take a few more rounds once that starts to smooth itself out a little bit. We'll take a little pause, just come back to neutral. And now let's start at the 6 o'clock, and don't overdo, just a little bit. And we've got 6, 7, 8, 9, and then 9, 8, 7, 6. So this lower quadrant here. Yeah. And again, the legs are relatively still. We're not trying to hold them rigid, but we're not really letting them kind of flop around so much. Great. And then let's do the full half. So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 12, 10, 9, 8, the other way. I can't count backwards. Yeah. Which is interesting because I'm still struggling with that between 9 and 12 o'clock. Now that we've done the second side, let's actually make a full circle. So just go at your own pace, but really see if you can target all 12 numbers on the clock face. And notice if it's more of a circle or if it's more of like a football shape or something odd like that. See if you can make it very round and find all of those wonderful numbers on the clock. Yeah. And then when that starts to smooth itself out, let's reverse the direction. Whatever way you're going, take it the other way. And if it's tricky for you, you might find that the jaw is trying to help out or the tongue. So you can relax your face. Great. And then we'll take a little pause, just come back to neutral. And once again, we'll take the legs long on the floor, just kind of stretch them out in a lazy way. And notice again now the two sides. And whatever is going on there, just check it out. Yeah. And then let's do a little pre-check before we do the next thing. So bend up the knees again. Cross the right ankle over the left thigh into the figure four position. And this, for me, I'm just going to stay here. If you'd like to pick up the left leg and bring it in and maybe take a little bit of movement, that's fine. And this is a pre-check. So we'll check it again later and see if things change in terms of what you're feeling in the hip. Yeah. And then we'll come out of that and switcheroo. So the left one comes up. And if you want to pull the right one in, you can. And take any kind of movement here. Great. And then let's release that. And grab your ball, the single ball, and we'll put it underneath the right buttock, kind of right in the middle. Yeah? And the single one, yeah. And it'll likely feel like not the most comfortable thing for the moment. Stay in the position and just let the right knee kind of drop out to the side and back to center. You do that a few times. And there's not an exact position for the ball. So at any point, if you feel like you need to move it a little up or down or to one side, you can, just so that it feels like it's in a good spot for you. Yeah. And then the next time the knee drops out to the side, we'll stay. Take a breath in, and just briefly, you'll hold the breath and clench the right buttock. And then on exhale, you'll relax the muscle, and you might feel the ball kind of sinking a little deeper in. So let's do a few of those. So that you inhale, pause at the top, clench around the ball. And then when you release the breath, let the muscle relax, and maybe you'll feel the ball sink in a little more. Yeah, take maybe another 2 or 3 more breaths like that. Yeah. And then the next time you relax the muscle, keep it that way. The right leg is still out to the side, and now you'll press into the left foot a little bit so that you can kind of roll the ball from side to side along the right buttock. Yeah. And of course, at any point, if you feel like you need to move the ball, you can. If you're doing this at home and it's too intense laying on your back, you could stand up and do it against the wall. That works great. Yeah. All right. And then from here, let's pause, just remove the ball for a second and just take a moment. We just were working on the right side. We'll continue working on the right side. Let's roll over so that you're on the right side and grab now the double balls. And I'm going to turn around so that you can see me here. Move this stuff out of the way. All right, so on your own body, on the side, if you put your hand there, you'll feel the pelvis, the ilium. And then if you go down a little further, there's kind of a soft spot, and then if you keep going, there's another little bony protrusion that's called the greater trochanter. This is on the side. We want to be in the spot right in between those two. So not on the pelvis, not on the greater trochanter, but right in the middle. Yeah? So let's prop up on the right elbow. The right leg will be straight. The left knee also just bending the knee and propping the foot either in front or behind the leg, whatever's most comfortable. Yeah. Now, on the right side, down leg, press the pinky side of the foot just straight down into the floor, and you might feel the muscle kind of engage over the ball. Yeah, and then relax. Do that a few times. Yeah, so you press and release. And press and release. Now stay in the relaxed state, and you'll kind of do a little up and down of the right heel so the whole body, oh my goodness, goes a little up and down. Yeah. Great, that's about to get a little bit worse. So let's relax. And then you'll bend the bottom leg a little bit, and then do kind of like a clamshell up and down, gently, and it won't go too high, it'll just be a little bit. That's it. And then pause. Only if this is tolerable, you can lift the foot and leg a little bit and take kind of a bicycle circle. And breathe. Yeah.
It's a different
thing. Take it in there, isn't it? Gluteus medius, gluteus minimus, just under it. Go the other direction with the circle. Oh, yeah. And then I think it's about enough. Let's come out. Yeah. Yeah, and then just put the props to the side for a second. And you'll lay down again. This is our recheck. And I'm not going to lay down, I'll just sit. Yeah. And notice the two buttocks now, the right and the left. And it might feel like the right one is kind of just, yeah.
Right was like,
yeah.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
Like,
what's going on here?
Yeah. Am I next?
Yeah. And then let's do the left side. So we'll start with that position on your back. I should not have dismantled my stuff, but I'll do it a little bit differently on this side. So bend the knees. Now you'll place the ball under the left side. And then you'll at first just let the knee drop out to the side. Oh, so this first part, Sarah, you're laying down. Yeah. This is the easier one. This is the single.
Yeah. Okay.
The single ball. Yeah.
Yeah.
So just do that a few times more on the left side. And then the next time the knee drops out to the side, let's keep it there. Take a breath in. Just briefly, you'll hold the breath and clench the muscle around the ball. And then on exhale, you'll let the muscle relax as the breath exits. Do that a few times. So we inhale, a little pause, little hold, little clench, and then exhale, so let it go. Yeah, take that just a few more. Great, and next time the muscle is relaxed, you'll stay. Use the right foot kind of for some leverage as you roll the ball across the back of the left buttock here. And it might be very different on the second side. Yeah. Depending on exactly where you are, some of you might be kind of tracking the piriformis muscle. Interesting guy back there. Great. All right, and then let's pause. We'll remove the ball. And then we'll switch over to the doubles. You'll roll onto your left side, and now we'll do this part, which is a little more torturous. but I think it'll have good results. So, down you come. And remember, we're not on bone here. We're in between the pelvis and the greater trochanter. That's it. Now, at first, the left foot, you'll just press the pinky side of the foot down into the floor and then relax that. Do that a few times. So you're not really going anywhere. It's just kind of a press and release. But it can be kind of intense. Yeah. I should have told you what we were going to do ahead of time. There are some of the balls are harder and some are softer. And next time you're in the relaxed state, stay. And then you'll do a little kind of up and down. You can point and flex the foot a little bit so your whole body rocks a little up and a little down. Oh, yeah. Great. Okay, and then let's pause. You'll bend the bottom knee. And then do a few little clamshells on the bottom leg. Gently, gently. And when I said little, I meant it. Yeah. That's it. And the next time you're in the up position, you can lift and take a few little bicycles. Oh no. Yep, and then cycle the other direction. Oh my goodness. All right, friends. And then that's enough of that. Release, take the balls out. Yeah. And just lay down again for a sec. Yeah, check it out. Flat as a pancake.
Wow.
Yeah, if you're okay to stretch the legs long too, so it's a more scientific check. And notice too, there's the obvious what's going on in the buttocks, but you might also notice the thigh bones sometimes feel a little closer to the floor. Sometimes there's a change in the breath. Yeah. And then let's recheck our figure 4 position, yeah? So you'll bend the knees, cross the right ankle over, and whatever you did last time, you can repeat that here. So if you pulled the left leg in, you can do so. If you added a little movement, you can do so. And just see if that's any different.
Actually, it feels a little looser.
Yeah, good. Good. All right, and then let's rinse and repeat on side 2. See if that one feels any different. Yeah. Great. All right, so our work with the legs for now, complete. Let's do our strap thing now that we're still on the legs actually. So you will take your strap and I'll invite you to do this version today where you make a really large loop. Make that, it'll go through both buckles and then you'll feed it back through just the one. And if you're approximately my height, usually about this much extra tail is good if you've got a 10-foot strap. Yeah. And then you're gonna put the strap around you with the buckle handy. It'll go right under the armpits and you guys are gonna lay down. I'm gonna stay sitting. And once you get there, you'll put the right foot up in the strap. Sarah, yours is a little too tight.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna be squashed in there. You need to make it a little bigger. Yeah. And Carol, I think yours looks pretty good. Yes, you'll lay all the way down on your back. Yeah, and this way we can do it with no hands. Yeah. So you can come lay down and lay down. Yeah. Great.
Yeah, right?
Exactly. Yeah, and you just let the head rest and hang out for a second. Yeah, I like this version for a couple reasons. One is that you don't need to worry about the hands and the arms. And another is that it gives a nice little lift for the upper back. Yeah. And then another benefit, it kind of puts the legs in a good position without you having to try so hard. So when we take the leg over to the right side, you might have to slide the foot a little bit in the strap to make that happen. Yeah. And how far you go is up to you. If you feel like you need a little kickstand, you could place your elbow on the floor and have the hand support the strap. If you don't need that, then don't worry about it. Yeah. Now, if we go over quite far, the left side of the body is going to try to lift. See if you can keep the left back ribs down. Nice. You guys look great. And then we'll come back up to the center. Take the leg now over the midline just a little bit, a few inches to the left, and I'm going to stay in the middle here. Yeah. And you might feel like you need to tighten the strap a little bit. If you do, go ahead. Now, stay in your position and think about the right hip crease. And can you move it down away from the right armpit? Yeah. Awesome. Let's return to center. And then you'll change out the legs. So the left one will go in the strap. Right one can be bent or straight. Yeah. And you might need to adjust the strap, but for the most part, it should be pretty okay. Good. And then just hang out here for a little bit. We'll do the nice lazy version today. I actually quite like the sitting version of this. It's nice, yeah. Then when you do go over to the side, it might be necessary to slide the foot a little bit so that it doesn't pull. Yeah. So you choose how far you're going to go, but don't let the right side body pop up. See if you can keep the right back ribs down on the strap. Nice. I did a private lesson the other day with somebody who doesn't normally use props. She was so impressed. She's like, so many things we can do with this strap. Yeah. All right, let's come back to center. And then we'll move the leg just a little bit over to the right, but not too far, just over the midline. Yeah. And see if you can move the hip crease down away from the shoulders to create a little extra space right in there. Great. And then we'll return to center, and let's do both feet up in the strap. And you might need to loosen it a little bit if you feel kind of compressed. Yeah. So both feet up. And then just a few times you'll do kind of a little press and release. So the feet press into the strap, and that'll pull on the upper back. And then you'll let that go. Do that a few times like a little pulse. Yeah. Great. Okay. And then we'll rearrange the strap in a second. Let me explain that here. So you'll bend the knees. Just go ahead and set the feet down for a second as we readjust. So we just have had the strap under the armpits. Now, what we're going to do, let me show this one. So you'll put the feet in, have the buckle available on the side in case you need to adjust. And then you'll lift the head. And it'll go just above the ears on the back of the head. And this is meant to feel good. If it doesn't feel good, tell me right away.
So above the ears?
Above the ears. Yeah. If it's on the neck, that's not great. So just above the ears. And if you have like slippery hair, you might have to keep a hand back here. Yeah. Lay down first and put the feet up, and then stick the head in. That works a little bit better. Yeah. And I'll just look at you guys, and my friends at home, I'll tell you what to do. Yeah. So you want the head to be supported, but not just in a comfortable position. Yeah. It's like a little hammock. And then a few choices here. You could just do nothing and just relax. That's a great option. Another option is to kind of pedal the feet. So you push one foot and then the other, alternating the knees bending. And that will give the head a little rotation. Yeah. And sometimes that feels good, like slow, you just kind of hang out on one side and then change. And sometimes that feels good, a little more of a quick pace, and just allowing the head to be rocked from side to side. See if you can really relax your face, your jaw, all the whole area. Yeah. And now another option here might be to keep the right foot in the strap, take the left leg out, and then let the right leg just kind of wave from side to side. Yeah, whatever you can be bent or straight. Yeah.
Okay, say that again.
Yeah. So the right leg stays up,
Okay.
left leg comes out,
Okay.
and then you can just put the left leg on the floor, and then let the right leg wave from side to side. Yeah. That requires a little more effort, but not much. Not much. It's like we're at a concert and it's a leg that's doing the waving. Yeah. All right. And then if you did the one leg, let's do the other side. So we'll switch. And of course, if you need to adjust the tension, you can. Or if you need to hold a hand back there, you can. If you have freshly washed hair, sometimes it's a little slick. Yeah. All right. And then from here, friends, let's pause. We will come out of the strap contraption. And just put the strap to the side, take a moment, take a little rest. Yeah. And then we'll shift gears here. So as you're just lying down, notice now the upper back and the shoulder blades. And see if you can just sense the border of your shoulder blades, right and left. And notice, does one feel higher or lower than the other? Maybe one feels tilted. Sometimes one feels larger than the other. Just try to get a sense of that. And also try to get a sense of the curvature of your neck, your cervical spine, and how much or little curve you have there. Yeah. All right. So now, kind of in a similar way to what we did with the hip, we'll do with the shoulder blades. So let's grab your single ball, and you'll bring it behind you in between the shoulder blade and the spine. Yeah. And I think you've got a nice soft one. So you'll lay down, and it's in between the shoulder blade and the spine. So if you need a softer one, just say the word, and I'll bring it over. This is a little bonier area for most of us than the buttocks. Yeah. And at first, oh my goodness, you might feel just like this lump in there. See if you can relax over the lump. Yeah. And then a few strategies we'll employ here. You can use your feet and pelvis to move the ball up and down. So in between the shoulder blade and the spine. Yeah, and I'm doing this on the wall if anybody is at home and it's too much, or even if you need to change and do it on the wall, you can. You can stand, or I'm too lazy to stand, so I'm sitting. Yeah. And then let's try this. See if you can either use your hand or maybe just jiggle your body a little. So the ball goes down towards the bottom tip of the shoulder blade, and then go a little kind of side to side right around here on the bottom tip. Yeah, and that can be a very sensitive place. Be kind. Yeah. And you have a little bit more right. I always think the shoulder blades look kind of like Africa. So here we're going around Cape Town. Okay. And then another little spot here. We'll take the ball and reset it. So now it's at the top part of the shoulder blade. And you'll see if you can kind of trace the upper border now. So you go right and left. Oh, yeah. And this is a place, there's a lot of tension for many of us. The upper trapezius muscle, levator scapula, some other stuff right up here that, like those stress muscles, yeah? Nice. Now we explored a few different places. If there's one place in particular that you find kind of interesting and want to explore, move the ball there. And then we'll still on the right side. We'll move the right arm around. Yeah? And at first, just whatever you want to do. And then I'll be more specific. Oh. And this is meant to feel good. If you find you can't breathe or it feels like your eyes are bugging out, you might need a softer ball, softer tool. Yeah. Let's pause here and have the arm just in front of the chest but kind of loose, with a little bend in the elbow. And let the arm move across the chest, the right arm, and then over. We'll do that a few times. So a little back and forth, and likely you'll feel the shoulder blade move and the ball kind of dig in there. Yeah, good. All right, and then let's pause. And now we'll make kind of a circle with the right arm. So it'll circle nice and slow. Let's keep the elbow bent. And then the other direction. Yeah. Now theoretically, we could do this in a bunch more places, but we'll just do the one spot for today. All right, and then if there's any last let's take a minute or so of any last little whatever you feel like you need here on the right side. This is fun doing it sitting. I feel like a bear scratching the tree. And sometimes husbands just aren't good at this sort of thing, so that's what a ball is for.
Well, they don't know the pressure.
No, they don't. And then they get bored. They're like, okay, is that enough?
Like, that's not enough. It's like, wait, it's just starting to feel better.
Come on now. All right, guys, let's remove the ball and just lay there for a second. Ha. Yeah, and notice now the right side versus the left side. And take a few breaths, and you might also notice a difference in your breathing on the right side and the left side. Yeah. So the poor left side is saying, what about me, right? Yeah, let's do it. So we'll put the ball in between the shoulder blade and the spine, just somewhere in there. Yep. All right. And then notice if there's, again, that reflex to kind of pull away from the ball, and see if you can relax into it a little bit. And then you do what you need to do to roll the ball up and down along the inner border of the left shoulder blade. Yeah. And notice if this side is behaving differently than the first side was. Most of us, we're not exactly symmetrical. As nice as that would be, it's just not reality. Yeah. So are you okay on that ball?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And Carol, are you okay on that ball? That's a softer one, so.
The left side.
Yeah.
The right side has so much.
Interesting.
It felt really good. This side is much more.
This side's not too bad. Yeah. All right, so let's, when you're ready, move down to kind of the bottom, the Cape Town here. And this part can be very sensitive, especially when we go more to the left. So be kind, be gentle as you do so. I just saw this jack-o'-lantern face. It's so funny. I'm just rocking from side to side. It's my favorite shirt. All right. And then let's pause and reset. So now the ball goes, we're going to trace the upper border of the shoulder blade, also known as the spine of the scapula. And here we'll kind of go against the upper trapezius, levator scapula, supraspinatus, a couple of other things in there. Holy moly, this side for me. I guess I'm doing opposite of you guys. So this is my right, this is your left. All right. And then let's pause here and reset the ball to any interesting place. I'll just kind of leave that open-ended. And then start with any kind of arm movement. And I'll be more specific. I can't even talk. I'm more specific in a second. Yeah, and I happen to be making fairly large arm movements. Yours might be really small, and you might, instead of doing more continuous movement, you might have more pauses in there. So you choose. Can you know what's going on in your body better than I do? Oh my goodness. And then let's do this. Just let the arm be kind of loosely in front of the chest, and we'll open and close out to the side and then across, keeping a little bit of the elbow. Yeah, this for me is way more intense than the hips were.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That's it. And then let's do our up and down. Or, let's just do the up and down. We'll do the circles last. Great. And then when you're ready, take those circles, keeping the elbow a little bit bent as the arm is moving around. That's it. And then other direction with the circles. Every time I do this, though, I need to do it more often. Especially after I take the ball out. Yeah, and then take just a minute or so, just for you, whatever that means. Maybe there's a spot you want to repeat or a spot we didn't get to. Maybe I'll sleep better tonight. I did not sleep well last night at all. So. Yeah, this might help.
Oh, I need to be carrying those shoulders. Get it out of there now. Nothing's gonna do it.
All right. And then when you're ready to get rid of the ball, just take it out and lay down again and just breathe. Check it out. Yeah, amazing. Just very gently here. Yeah, let the head roll from side to side. Yeah. Good. And then we'll pause. But we're not done yet. So we'll change to the doubles. And for this one, I didn't grab blocks, but I'm actually not really going to do it, so I'll show you what to do. I'll suggest using the block. It's instead of this bolster, you'll have a block on the lowest height, and then you'll put the double ball over it. And then when we come down, we turn around here, we'll end up with the ball, with the double ball right here at the base of your skull. Yeah? Okay. So it's on the head, it's not on the neck, but it's not high up on the head, it's just kind of right here. And the chin will end up kind of nodding down a little bit. Yeah. So we're in a kind of a tucked position. I'll stay for a moment if you can be here for a little bit. Yeah. Now in this position, yeah, it's on the occiput at the lower part of the skull. And well, remember we did that 6 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 12 o'clock, that cat-cow tilt. Do a little version of that here. And it'll create a tiny, tiny little roll of the ball, and it'll move your head a little bit. Yeah. Great. And then pause just with the neutral pelvis. And this is very, very tiny. Let your nose go right and left, like an inch, maybe less, each direction. Yeah. So there are a set of muscles here right at the base of the skull, the suboccipital muscles. We're also partly getting into the upper trapezius. Good. All right. And then from here, pause, breathe. Now we'll change. So you'll actually get rid of the block and you'll move the balls down. So we're going to skip the neck and go now into this place. So it's right at the kind of where the shoulders and the neck come together, right into that place. And you'll lay down with the knees bent and the feet on the floor. And then here too, I think I can do this at least for a little bit. And you'll take your hands and hold your head. You can interlace the fingers here. And then you'll press into the feet and let the pelvis lift a little bit as we take kind of a, you know what, you could actually do this. Forget what I said before. Keep holding the head. And then again, do that sort of cat-cow tilt in the pelvis. Yeah. Now, for me, that's feeling like plenty. Yeah? If you want a little more, you can lift the pelvis and or slide a block under the pelvis so that there's a little more weight of your body going down on the balls. And you could either just hold that still or you could continue the little rock in the pelvis. Yeah. That's it. And then we'll pause and move the head from side to side using your arms to do it. Good. All right. And then from here, yogis, let's kind of wiggle and jiggle a little so the balls move down. So they're right about now kind of in the middle of the shoulder blades. Yeah. And then again, let's take just a little side to side here with the head. Is everybody okay? You're mighty quiet. Yep. All right. And then let's come wiggle jiggle a little lower. I can barely talk. So now you're kind of right at the bottom tip of the shoulder blades or slightly lower than that. And at this point, go ahead and let the head come down to the floor. Take your arms right in front of you and just let the arms move around a little bit like we did when we were doing the shoulder blade. Yeah, and with this one, I kind of like doing the open and close, so arms go wide and then you pull them back in. That might work well for you. Or if you prefer just to wave them around a little bit, that works. Oh. Now, I'll kind of leave this up to you. Some of you might want to go lower, and if you do, you might have to, you could either just do a little wiggle jiggle to go a little lower, or you could use your arms to lift yourself up. I'm getting tangled in my shirt. Yeah. So we're nearly done with this little section. So take whatever else you need here to kind of finish it up. Great. And then if you still need another minute or so, take what you need. And when you're ready to let it go, you'll take the balls, just put them to the side, and again, we'll take just another lie down. And sometimes while you're in the moment, it can be a little intense, but then when you come out, I'm hoping you feel a sense of release. Yeah, you might feel more breath. I'm going to turn out the overhead light, and we'll just kind of be quiet and still for the remainder. That was still around. Yeah. And as you begin to settle in more, let's bring your awareness here into the back of the head, where we had the balls right at the occiput, the base of the skull in the back. Just imagine that part of your head becoming a little wider across. And as that happens, see if you can relax the muscles in your face and all around the eyes, and the little space in between your eyebrows. You relax the lower jaw and the tongue, and a little patch of skin that's right behind your ears. And then from the base of the skull, down the sides of the neck and out to the upper part of the shoulders. See if you can relax right in here. Bring your awareness into the right side shoulder blade. And just in your mind's eye, see if you can trace the perimeter of the shoulder blade where we were rolling on the ball. And ask the musculature around there to relax, to release. And then we'll move over to the left side, same thing, just tracing the border all around, relaxing through all sides. And then bring your awareness to the musculature along the spinal column. And slowly here from the top down towards the bottom. Just imagine the whole back body becoming a little wider across. Eventually you'll move down to the lumbar spine, back of the pelvis. Imagine the back of the pelvis also becoming a little wider across. You can relax through the abdomen. Allow the belly just to take a nice rise and fall every time you breathe. Let go of any tension right around the hip creases, in front of the thighs. And imagine the bones in your legs becoming a little heavier, dropping down. Go over any holding in the feet, the ankles, the toes. Imagine the soles of the feet just taking up a little more space. Allow the entire body to breathe. Little rise on the inhale and a little fall on the exhale. In a moment, we'll start to move out. Shavasana. And it might feel nice just to create a little sensation, maybe in the fingers, toes, maybe in the head, maybe in the arms. Just take a moment here for whatever you need to do as we start to transition. Eventually, you can let the knees bend and roll to one side. And from there, take your time to come upright. We'll meet sitting. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste, yogis.